Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Today is a crazy busy day around here. I was originally going to make this video entirely dedicated to mistakes that new eBay resellers make and things that they don't do that maybe they should do. I've changed my mind a little bit because we got so much going on around here and I'm headed out of town. Matter of fact, we've had sales good enough over the last few days that I've made 3 videos in 3 days. Today's sales are great too, just under $1,000 headed out of here today. And I'm still gonna talk about that topic, and I'm gonna ask you old timers out there, you folks been doing this for a long time, to chime in with some things that I've missed in this video. Wallen is sitting here, y'all, really upset because Jess's dog is here today. And this is as far as he can go with that little beeper on his collar, huh? Well, she'll be here in a minute. Before I head into the cabin, I want to show you something. Do you remember me saying that if I was going to do whatnot, I wasn't going to be the one doing it? I asked some folks to help. My family's been helping. And look, I got Jess and Bubba's girlfriend here today. There's Jess. Look at all we got. We're making so much progress in here. We meaning you. You see Bubba's girlfriend? You can't see her. She doesn't like to be on camera anyway. There you go. You guys are making whatnot shows from here to kingdom come, because of what I said on the video a few days ago. Reagan is actually upstairs doing something for the CommonwealthPicker.com store and whatnot for that matter. And my wife went to town to get more boxes. It's crazy around here, and I'm leaving at 6 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. The girls are working on that all giveaway show on the 29th. Nothing but giveaways. They're also working on the Black Friday sale out there. It is kind of nice. I pay them a lot of money, but it is kind of nice to not have to do any of the whatnot work, and I can just focus on all these sales in here. That was the deal. It's kind of cool, actually. And everybody's making a little bit of money on it, and we're getting rid of more stuff. And somebody's in here. Reagan's in here doing a little something. Don't let him see. Don't let him see yet. You gotta announce it in a minute. $45 plus shipping for the console, SNES console only. I did say we're gonna make this about mistakes that I think people make before they start, not even before, as or before they start reselling. And like I said, leave your comments below, but I'm gonna start with the first one. And there is no particular order to these. I'm just throwing them there between every single sale that we have today. So I would say a lot of people, before they start, they go out and buy all the equipment for it. They go out and buy the Rolo printer, the thermal printer. They go out and buy a brand new computer. They go out and buy all the tubs, all the printing label, and all the bubble wrap, and all that stuff, which you need, don't get me wrong. But I think it's important not to spend all that money before you know you're going to be committed to this. You might start it and you might not like it. So I would say get the bare minimum to begin with. That could just be as simple as a printer and your phone. And maybe go out and get a few boxes and ask some folks for some bubble wrap, or find your packages that people have sent you and have that stuff ready. Get a little tape. A tape gun isn't too expensive, but going out and buying everything you might possibly need in advance could end up in a big loss of money, because you don't want to do it in the long run. I think it's eventually going to be a mistake to be buying product from, you know, Walmart or big box stores or something like that. Even bubble wrap, it's much more expensive to go in there and buy it, and then you can get it. I mean, I know I push my go-to tape, American Bubble Boy, my go-to tape, go Commonwealth 5% off. But at the very beginning, you don't need that kind of stuff. You can scrounge around. It's when you start doing volume that it becomes a bit of an issue. I'm going to find this one. I just remembered where it was. I got to get up here and get it. I used it as a display up here. And in fact, I know people who do a pretty good amount of volume who don't buy boxes and buy stuff. I choose to, because time is money and there's an opportunity cost to going around hunting. But there's a lot of folks who have good little systems to get stuff. When I used to be a teacher, I'd get stuff for free all the time. I just told the janitors to leave it at the door for me when I left, and I grabbed it. Giant chicken and Peter sold for $39 plus shipping. It's all pure profit at this point. I think the next mistake I hear a lot of people make and regret is that they buy merchandise. They're buying inventory before they're ever selling it. I think that's a mistake. Maybe buy a few things if you have nothing of your own to sell, but that's it. learn to see if you like it first, because if you buy tons and tons of stuff and then you try and sell it and you hate it, or those things that you bought weren't selling, you need to have that feedback of buying and selling, what's working, what's not working, what's selling for what you think it is, and what's not going to sell at all. Buying tons of stuff before you start selling, in my opinion, is a big mistake. Sold Chewbacca. You've been sitting here for a while and didn't sell it for much. $9 plus shipping. I'd also say starting to sell without being comfortable with comping things out is a big mistake as well. A lot of people, you know, they look just like yard sellers out there. They look at eBay. Maybe you're comfortable with the eBay app and you're looking up things, but you're not going to sold listings, and you're not going and looking at the sell-through rate. How many things like that particular item have sold in the last 90 days and at what price compared to how many are listed? You know, if you've got 400 listed and 8 sold, I don't care what the price is. Well, that's not true. But it's going to be a tough seller. The sell-through rate is just too poor. So getting comfortable with that eBay app, I think, is a huge deal, and knowing how to comp correctly. Sold another Commodore, and this one has a box, and this one has some pamphlets and some extras. Paid $20 for this one. Sold for $142.45. Had a watcher, sent out a 5% offer. Sold it just like that. All right, this one's going to sound a little weird, but when I explain it, I think it'll make sense. I think a mistake, some people can make a mistake by listening to YouTubers. So, you know, when you hear me talk about, you know, cross-listing and list perfectly and this service, that service, all those different things, it's not always the right thing to do for everybody. That's why when I mention it, I specifically say that. And in my opinion, it is not the right thing to do for a first time, for a beginner seller. You're trying to keep costs down as you grow volume. And then the volume and the sales can maybe allow you to afford those type of things. It is right for some people. Code Commonwealth, 15% off. But it's not right for everybody. So that's what I mean. You know, if somebody goes out there and says, if you're going to start reselling, you need to start cross-listing right now. You need to buy boxes from this person. You need to buy whatever. At the very beginning, you need to make it as minimal as possible. Invest as little capital as possible until you know it's what you want to do. I would have normally planned to have the next 2 sales be cross-listing sales after that, but I didn't plan it, but that's exactly what happened. This is a cross-lister here. This is a Gryffindor Harry Potter sweatshirt used, and it sold for $15.84 plus shipping. Which kind of leads me to the next thing. Don't overpay for stuff. Don't be so eager to find something that you can make a little bit of money on. There's tons of stuff out there. Just be patient. Don't overspend. Matter of fact, underspend. Don't be afraid to walk away from things. This particular sale, I don't know, people call me cheap. I get raked over the coals all the time for it, but I think it's important. You know, I buy 5,000 things a year. If I can get $1 off of each thing, holy moly, that's a lot of money at the end of the year. And if you're trying to start this thing up, you got to be pretty careful with how much you spend on stuff. You can pay up for some things. I do often, but this kind of stuff is a dime a dozen out there. And, you know, don't pay $8 for this. If you can sell it for $15, I think I paid $2.50. I think I got 2 for, I think they wanted 4 a piece. And I said, how about 2 for $5 or something like that? And I sold it. So I don't know. Some of you out there think I'm cheap. I don't know. I think it's very important, especially for beginners, to not pay up for a lot of stuff unless you know it's an absolutely good opportunity. And this next item, actually, I didn't even know it sold. I just found out when I was doing that other sale. This one up here, actually, this one's going to put us over to the $1,000 mark. Headed out of here today, which is kind of cool. This Furby right here, this took a long time to sell. That's what I mean. If you're just starting off and you want sales, you know, you want stuff that has a decent sell-through rate. And this one, and these do to some degree if you really discount them, but this one was in great shape, so I didn't. And I eventually got a pretty good amount of money, $37 plus shipping for this one. And I paid up for this one. I paid like, well, I don't know, for me it's paying up. I think I paid like $8 for that one right there at the 127 sale. And I like to pay $5 for these. I might have paid 10. Any rate, $37 plus shipping. That leads me to the next point, you know, especially with newbies. And I think a lot of newbies probably should be doing calculated shipping as you learn it and learn about what stuff basically goes for and how much they charge the buyer versus how much you're going to be charged. If you do calculated shipping, you're going to make money on basically every sale, even after paying the fee on that portion. So I'd say that's probably the best place to start, but learn, as you're doing it, learn how to think about the process. An item like that, if it's going to California, how much am I being charged? Eventually you get to the point where you could either do free shipping, which I wouldn't suggest at the beginning at all. I don't even do it now very much. And then you'll be able to figure out, okay, what should I put as the price of the item to include that shipping, or flat rate shipping. And then you can just put, it's all, like I said, fungible in the last video. You can put those things together and figure out about what it's going to be, and then add in your cost and say, okay, I can make some money. But at the beginning, you want to make sales. So I don't suggest people undercut the market very often, unless it's a extremely slow sell-through rate. But for a new person trying to get feedback, I think I would be close to the bottom of the market. If you're doing calculated shipping, I definitely would be at the bottom of the market. And you folks who've been doing this a long time, longer than me, I've been at it for 22 years now. Don't be afraid to chime in down below. Don't be afraid to disagree either. I always say is iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And let people see these differing opinions, just so they know, hey, there's not just one way to do this. The way I do it is just one way to do it, and there are many, many for sure. So give your opinions down below as well. Some hyper dunks. Here's another one. Sell in a category you know a little bit about at the beginning. I'm not a shoe guy, never have been. And I was smart enough to pick these up for a few bucks. Didn't do anything to them at all. Snapped a couple pictures, sold for $38 for shipping. That kind of leads into the next one. Sell something you know something about. Sell something that gives you joy to begin with, not something that's completely outside of the spectrum of what you know already. But at the same time, and I see my dad out there picking when he goes and drives me, he thinks some things have value because they have value to him. Look them up. Look them up. There's a lot of things out there that a lot of people think have value that just don't have value. And so you'll get it home and you'll go to list it and you're like, oh, disappointed. Look it up first. If you're not comfortable pulling your phone out at a sale or a thrift store, that's another thing. If you are comfortable do it at a thrift store, take your time and learn things at a thrift store. Where at a garage sale, it's not quite the same. There's a little bit of a speed factor in it. But know before you buy, and don't be afraid to lose out on something and end up taking a gamble on something that you're going to regret. One other thing I'd say is be careful buying multi-quantity. I love multi-quantity. It's awesome, but make sure it's the right multi-quantity with the sell-through rate. You don't want to buy 1,000 of something that's going to sell, like my ET pens. We've got just tons of them, but the sell-through rate isn't extremely high. And so you want to avoid that so you don't have to store a ton of stuff unless it's selling fast, and then grab it. This is a cool little sale right here when we bought all those Five Nights at Freddy's plush. Make ship Dowco Poupette plush. That right there sold for $74 plus shipping. We're into it for like, geez, I don't even remember what I paid at that, like less than $2 for those. The next one I can't believe I'm even saying, but this is true. And some of you out there might admit to it. I get messages from people from time to time who start reselling and they're like, how do you make any money? The shipping is so ridiculous. I just paid X to ship this item. And I'm like, holy moly, something's not right. Something's definitely not right. And I ask them, are you shipping off of the eBay platform? And their answer is no. They'll go and they'll pay retail shipping prices at the post office. That is a big no-no. Also talk about, always ship off of eBay, or, eventually if you can do pirate ship for different stuff and, whatever. But eBay will do the trick for most folks. I also see a lot of folks out there using medium flat rate boxes, priority boxes, and large flat rate boxes. I almost never, ever use those. They're almost never the best option. I do occasionally use these flat rate shippers right here, but not too much. Sold a Snoopy rug. I just could not resist this when I saw it. I even paid up a little bit for it because I knew somebody would want it out there. And it sold for $29 plus shipping for that Snoopy bath rug out there. I wonder what that was MSRP. It doesn't say. 2019 Snoopy rug, $29 plus shipping. Some people don't have an inventory plan. I don't use a SKU system. That's not what I'm talking about. Although I think for most folks, it's probably the best option, at least to start with it. You might as well. I never started with it. I just got used to doing what I do, and it works perfectly fine for me. But I'm talking about inventory on the incoming side and storage side. Just have a dedicated space, a plan, have room to do this. You don't want it to overtake your life and overtake and upset your family and whatever, because then they're going to resent it a little bit. This wasn't the best buy in the world, but I could not leave it behind. Some ski bibs, vintage ski bibs, just kind of cool. Got the hood, great condition. I think I paid $1 maybe. Not much. Sold for $22 plus shipping. Gonna interrupt this really quick and give a giant thank you to a couple people here. Dennis and Andrea Coates, remember those pickers. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. In Utah, check out the hat, AAA All-Star Game that they sent me. Ooh, brand new with tags. Very cool. I appreciate that. And SMS Postcards. You can check his information out right there, smspostcards.com. Check that out. And look what he gave me. Tupperware World Headquarters. Mark, thank you. That is super cool. I appreciate that very, very much. What's the date on it? 1976. Almost the best year ever. So another pair of joggers. This one is a UNLV set right here. Picked this up at Broad Acres in Vegas with Art of Resale and Carry American Arbitrage. And that didn't go for a ton, but we're still making money on it. $20 plus shipping. I'll interrupt it one more time for a special sale, and then we'll kind of get back to what we were talking about for a minute as we finish up the sales. This Innoman sold. If you're new to the show, there's quite a history behind it, but I don't have time. This one went to Charles, and Charles says, "Hi, Kevin. Thanks for the Inna Boost for the holidays." So, Charles, I hope that thing gets your store moving. I might even suggest not doing one-day shipping and handling to begin with, because you don't want to get dinged with anything right off the bat, like late shipping, when you don't have a whole lot of feedback and a whole lot of sales. One-day shipping is absolutely the best way to go. However, I don't do it. I do 2-day shipping, so you don't have to do it. And it gives you a little bit of leeway out there. So I know some people who do like 7-day shipping. They're like, I only ship 1 day a week. I'm like, okay. These are pretty cool. I bought these also at Broad Acres. These sold for $22.95 plus shipping. I think we have some on Whatnot too. And $30 MSRP. And we have more in the eBay store. Had to get the golf club head cover bin down to dig this one out, and it didn't take very long. This Rogue head cover sold for $12 and, I don't know, 95 cents, something like that. And I really do think selling things you enjoy really helps keep you going. I mean, obviously, if you're doing it just for money, then you're going to need to sell what you need to sell. But to start off with, you know, I love Tupperware. That one sold for $14 plus shipping, that little pickle keeper. And they're not huge money, but I'll pick them up for a couple of bucks, and if they're more than that, I leave them behind. Right back to the Tupperware bin. This one was at the bottom, unfortunately. The blue on one side, the red on the other. Got the lid. Sold for, I don't know if they sold for $15 or $16 plus shipping. They sell better with the lids. But again, if they're not cheap, I'm not buying them. And that one went to a viewer, went to Ingrid. Ingrid, thank you very much. Listener on your YouTube channel, she says. I appreciate that, and I hope you enjoy it. And the next one's right here, and this one went to a viewer too, and I know you. This one went to Caleb from the Old Paths. And Caleb, I bought this in your neck of the woods. I bought this in Crossville many moons ago, and we have 418 still available. That was a great sale, by the way. I absolutely loved it. That guy was funny at that sale. $9.85 free shipping. Y'all go check him out. You can find him on the Old Paths YouTube channel, or you can find him on the Two Old Guys, what is it called? The Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. All right, y'all, forget the. It's just Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. So that's with Chris Old School Picker. Speaking of old, you got a joke for us. What's your joke?
How is the moon like dentures?
How is the moon like dentures? How is the moon like dentures, huh? No name? How?
Because they both come out at night.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
Sold a DuPont Jeff Gordon jacket. Paid $10. Sold for $100 plus shipping. That's the other thing I'd suggest for some people, and everybody's in it for a different reason, but surround yourself with good people, and I mean digitally and actually. You know, find some folks in your area that do what you do. We have Trash to Cash podcast, or Trash to Cash Reselling Facebook group, and I'll be honest, not everybody over there is awesome, but the bulk of people over there are very helpful and will answer your questions before you make a mistake. You can do that. I also suggest, there's Tim over the years, Shernox Connection, Eric, OBX Picker, and Blood, Sweat, and Cell, Leroy. They have good advice, just common sense type advice. And I like to listen to those folks, the Old Paths, Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. You know, there's a lot of good folks that you can trust out there. There's tons of them, actually, who you can trust out there. and find those people, network with people, find people that you're in the chats that will connect with you on Instagram that'll answer your questions. I try my very best to answer a ton of questions, but I get literally hundreds of questions and messages every day, so I might get to 5 or 10% of them. And, you know, it's just a lot easier in these groups that help out that kind of stuff. They're not all great, though. Some of them be toxic, and I would not surround yourself with toxic people. Mom told me to come out? Okay. Got one more sale here, and then one more bit of advice for newbies, and then I want all those folks who've been doing it a while to chime in down below as well. This is what we call our 50-50 charity auctions every single Christmas season. We'll probably have one up at all times. This one, we've got 50% of the money here going to St. Jude automatically right out of eBay. So this is a very cool little In-A-Man Christmas ornament. And it is going to Larry. So Larry, thank you for being the first 50-50 charity auction person this year. We really do appreciate it. And I know St. Jude does. That's one of the charities we give to. And that reminds me of the show. We're doing the free giveaway show. We're actually going to run 2 auctions in there for charity. One's the Blessing Place. We might do both of them for them. I need to go see Andrea. I haven't seen her in a while. You may remember that video. And I owe her $220. So I send her a message every couple of weeks and say, I'm not forgetting that I owe you that money. So I got to get it to her. So I pay all my debts to all these people, but I pay her in person, and I've just been gone so much. So we're going to get that to her. And then hopefully with that charity auction on the 29th, those 2 and that freebie thing, we'll get her some more money as well. And if you haven't seen her yet, you need to meet her. She's absolutely one of the sweetest people I think I've ever met. All right, y'all, if you've been watching this show for a while, you know this is our 4th year of doing these ornaments. And there's a lot that goes into it. The design, the thought process, the artwork. Reagan and Blue Ridge Mama do a great job. And then this year we passed it on to Just Be Crafting to get the final design. And then we passed it on to Two of a Kind. I got to make sure I get this right. I always mess this up. Two of a Kind Custom Designs. You can go check them out on Facebook. They are awesome, and they've been doing these ornaments. There's a lot of work that goes into them. They're vinyl, and there's different layers to it. And this year is the design. Wallen got on the design. That was the worst kept secret ever, I think. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Let me get a close up.
Well, he was our Christmas puppy last year.
You want to show him the back?
This is 39,
there you go.
I think.
And Reagan signs every single one. In the past, we've got a limited amount. We increased that this year a little bit because
that's 34.
They literally sell out in like 30 hours every year. And people email me for weeks about them. So this year we decided to up it. And we're going to first make them available on the 29th on the giveaway auction over there on Whatnot. And it's going to be in the Buy It Now section. And then immediately after that show, we're going to put them on CommonwealthPicker.com. They will not sell out over there. We won't let them. So all you folks can go check out that. But if you do, if you've never used Whatnot, you can use that link, get $15 off. These are expensive to make, y'all. I'll be honest with you, because we've got, Reagan gets a portion of it because she does a lot of work with it. And we also do a charity component. This one always goes every year to one of the local animal shelters. Last year we did Lynchburg Humane Society. We'll see about this year. And it's a really cool little ornament. Just a giant thank you to everybody who buys them every year. Like I said, you can get that free $15 if you've never signed up for Whatnot, and go over there, and that way you can get them for like $7 plus shipping over there. So, at any rate, or you can wait and they'll be on CommonwealthPicker.com, but they do go quickly. We did get more this year. And that's all there is. She's going to number every one and sign every single one of them. So she's going to make a decent amount of change on this thing. I'm going to pay myself a little bit too, because I got to recoup all this cost. And then we're doing it. It's just a fun thing we do every year. And I'm glad Wallen's on it next year. We'll have to think about
next year.
Or this year. I'm sorry. We'll have to think about next year.
Yeah.
So who's on it last year? Sophie? Who? Pepper was on it last year.
Sophie. Was
Sophie
Dobby
the year
first?
before. No, the In-A-Man was the first year.
It was?
Yeah, green one.
Dobby wasn't on it?
Dobby's never been on it.
Oh my gosh, maybe we'll
They don't know
Dobby.
Dobby, though, very well.
But we can...
No name,
I
maybe.
swear Dobby was on the first
We should have
year.
done the hedgehog, but they didn't know the hedgehog too well
Yeah.
either. Maybe we'll put the chickens on it. Who knows? At any rate, it's a fun thing we do, and it goes for a good cause. Her and to the charity as well. So thanks for everybody who's been involved with it. CommonwealthPicker.com on the 29th. And on whatnot.com on the 29th as well. Thank you, Reagan.
Bye.
Hey, I got to slide one in here before the end of the video that I forgot to get earlier. $25 plus shipping for this Lego Friends Gymnastics. Oh, set. 241 pieces. What number is that? 41372. $25 plus shipping. Last little one that was on my list that I overlooked was don't cancel an order early. If you don't have a ton of sales and you cancel an order, it'll really ding you. I've even heard people getting kicked off of eBay because their metrics aren't good enough. So don't cancel an order really for any reason. Communicate with the person, maybe even send them something similar, and then refund all their money. It's going to cost you a little bit, but it's going to keep you in the ball game. If somebody else has some better advice out there about that topic, leave that down below as well. All right, y'all, thank you for joining us. I know there is a ton more we could say, and I know there's a bunch of folks out there who have been doing this better than me, longer than me, and they can give some great advice as well. And do that in the comments below. And for you newbies out there, good luck. Thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.